Digitel is one of the leading companies helping associations leverage their content through event live streaming, webinars, and knowledge distribution. Take advantage of their 32 years of streaming success in generating revenue for their clients than any other company, hands down. For more information on Digitel, go to digitelinc.com.
Are you a follower? Okay, so we're gonna be at
Welcome to GatherGeeks, a podcast by BizBash, the place where people passionate about meetings and events come together. Here are your hosts, BizBash CEO David Adler and Executive Editor Beth Kormanik.
Hi, David.
Hey, Beth. How are you doing?
I'm so well. I'm excited to have our audience hear this interview today. So BizBash recently inducted new members into our Hall of Fame at a ceremony in Los Angeles that you were at.
Yes, it was fantastic. I get so inspired every time I hear these people.
Well, over the next few weeks, we'll be sharing conversations with our honorees from that event so that those who were not at our event can still learn from the collective wisdom of our honorees. And up first is Cheryl Cecchetto, who is owner and president of Sequoia Productions. You caught up with Cheryl after a very busy awards season in Hollywood. Sequoia Productions has produced the Academy Awards Governor's Ball for 27 consecutive years. It also has coordinated and produced the Primetime Emmys, Governor's Ball, and Emmy Creative Arts Ball for 19 consecutive years. And the Emmy events are North America's largest annual seated dinners, totaling, listen to this, 7,500 guests.
Wow.
Yeah. So Cheryl brings a background in set design and theater to the job, and she defines events in a very Hollywood way. And she calls them a film with one take.
Yep. That's what she does. That's what she calls it.
Isn't that great? But she also chatted with you about how to be a mentor and what she looks for when hiring someone.
Yeah, she really brings humanity to the event planning business, and she really thinks of it in that Hollywood sense. But it's also what stays with it at the end. You remember events that you go to when she produces it because she has that. It's almost like on film. The one take thing is the perfect example, I think, of how she talks about it.
Right. And so after all these many years in the business, I just loved her perspective about being a mentor, a hiring manager. And then I think that's something that other executives can learn from, but also people starting out in the business, kind of getting both sides of what both sides of the relationship are looking for.
And what's interesting, her acting career, that's how she got to Hollywood.
Right.
And she finds that so important. The ability to talk to people and to pitch things to them in the same way the movie people pitch things in their world. Because half of it is that whole sort of taking command and understanding the plot, and understanding everything. I just completely fell in love with her.
Yeah. Well, I know you enjoyed catching up with Cheryl, so let's take a listen.
So Cheryl, we're excited to have you at our Hall of Fame.
It's my honor. It's such a privilege to be here, and I thank you for the honor.
Well, we like the idea of this honor is to really show the next generation that it's an exciting business to be in and that we really do important things.
Exactly. And you know what? You do a great job in communicating that amongst all of us.
Well, we try to peek over the fence to see what other people are doing. And I think the more we learn from each other, the better it is.
I think so. And also, I mean, it's really a bona fide business
now. It's a bona fide business.
And when I started 30 years ago, it was not.
Yeah.
It was flowers and tablecloths. And now it's full out production. So I'm lucky to have grown with the business. And the business has grown with me.
So how have you seen it? What was the biggest change you've seen in this business? And was there a tipping point?
I think so. What I feel has happened is that it's gone from walking into a space that you paint to actually it's being activated in a world that you are involved in the experience through all of your senses rather than just seeing something. So it's a theatrical performance that I often describe as a film, but we have one take.
And when you plan this, what's the first thing that you think about?
Well, I'm very much at planning a strategic formula. I have all kinds of checks and balances in place.
What's your formula?
Well, my formula is truly planning and truly listening and truly thinking about the mission statement and the accomplishment that the client wants before jumping in. I've learned over the years to just wait. Wait until you feel you've got that event that will really turn the client's head and their guest's head. And I think it's about 100% structural planning. And I put so many formats in place over the years just to keep us all involved in checks and balances. And when your team grows, it's not like you yourself are doing a job or my partner Gary. We're all following that formula.
Dig a little deeper into the formula. Like, how did you sort of develop your structure? Like, what is your sort of secret sauce on this? Not to tell everyone all your secrets,
I have to say that, I you know what, I've got what I call monkey brain. I think that now, what do we call it? ADD, DDD.
Yeah. There were no drugs back then.
No, I call it monkey brain. And so I actually started a series of checks and balances and paperwork down to job delegation charts and massive timelines and logistic request forms and a lot of paperwork that you wouldn't, I don't know if all companies do this, but I do, because I have to make sure that the foundation is so solid. And then when that's in place, down to, there's formula timelines. They're not all identical, but there's formula timelines. So now down to like what time everybody's going to be doing what throughout the evening as far as your guests are concerned. Where are we directing them also? And then I fill in the blanks, and then I build from that. And I think that that's something over the years that I've learned not to react, not to panic, not to answer so quickly, but really sit back and analyze the situation.
And how do you do that in the midst of fire, of incoming?
What's
your advice to the people that would be listening to this?
I would say to really try to find a couple great mentors and just roll up your sleeves and experience it all. As I said, we have what's called a job delegation chart in our office. And in one job, there'll be 40 categories. And I often go to my staff, please grade yourself from 1 to 10. 10 being, you got it. 1 being, I don't know. And then let's look at those ones. So I would advise everyone to please go out there, find some great mentors. And even if you're not going to be a florist, go work with a florist for a couple of weeks. You should know rentals by being in those warehouses and seeing everything and touching everything and feeling everything so that you can offer something to your client.
Okay, so the person that wants to work for you, what's the blink then when you know that's the right person for me?
I am very much of service. I'm a Canadian.
We love Canada. We have a we almost moved there.
so I have to say that if I can see, I can even tell when usually took about 30 seconds to decide.
It's that blink theory.
It's really that blink theory. Absolutely.
And what about that? What about it? What is that thing?
I'm looking for the essence of someone that feels comfortable in who they are, really is really willing to work as a team. I have to tell you, if someone didn't make it in my office, they actually weeded themselves out. I didn't, because they weren't working. They weren't seeing that it is one full circle, And so I'm looking for that person that really will go the extra mile, because you need to go the extra mile.
But how do you teach the person that you have to teach them to be a mentor?
Yes.
To be a mentor and a mentee.
You have to.
There is a dance.
You have to teach worth ethics.
But you have to stay with that person, because they're not going to be perfect in the beginning.
They're not going to be. And I say to new people, I don't expect anything from you in 1 year. I don't.
Really?
I say you've got a year, especially if you're right out of college, for sure. And I have an intern program also. It's a 6-month intern program.
Structured like everything else you do?
Oh yeah. In my office, I bring in someone for 6 months twice a year, and some of them have become my full-time staff. If there was an opportunity and it was a good fit, I call it their master's degree. Right? But no, you have to stick with someone. I mean, I hope one of the things I do is mentor and empower and really encourage. Even myself, I get feedback, Cheryl, you changed your mind on that. Nope, you didn't say that. You said this. Great. Let's talk about that.
Have you become a much better leader over the last?
Unbelievable.
And what was the tipping point on that?
Well, the very first year that I worked and I was freelancing for Carl Bendix at Ambrosia, I was just walked into that space and felt like I had the world and I knew everything. And you should have seen the feedback I got. Like, people confronted me. Who are you? Who do you think you are? And how could you think that? We've been here for 5 years. I actually had to step back and think, I think you call that a big B. Right? And that was a great learning curve for me. And even not only dealing with how to lead staff, but how to understand so many different things in the business. I'm forever a student. I love being a student. I absorb everything around me all the time. And, and I notice everything. I always have. But even with new leadership, I mean, imagine having
What's your leadership style?
My leadership style is to 100% stick with someone so they feel very, very, it's actually the Japanese philosophy. They go up with 2 or 3 sets of stairs, and then once they feel that the actual person they're teaching is like really wavering and nervous, they bring them down a step of stairs to their comfort level. They work on that again. Then they go up another 2 sets of stairs and then down a step. So that's like the Japanese philosophy of learning. I am very much I think the mother position within the office too. Gary, my vice president, loves marketing, and he loves to really visualize with a company how it can grow, et cetera, et cetera. But my style is very much mentoring. It's very much empowering. I want to have staff work without me, and I will let them go when I feel they don't need me.
So the ones that you don't communicate with are the ones that you are...
It's taken time.
Yeah.
Some people it's taken time. And also in some aspects with certain staff, because we have 15 full-time staff, some of them are good in some areas, so I can't let go of that. And some of them are not. It's really like this. And then what I do is I team the senior staff up together so that they can, again, pass on the information. I am not going to teach anyone how to do rentals. I have senior staff that can do that. I am not going to teach them how to staff. I'm not going to...
But you know it.
But I know it.
Yes.
But and there's things also that I used to do when I began that I don't do anymore. I used to do a little payroll. I used to do all
the things.
the account.
Okay, so I have two last questions. What I found is that most people in our business did what they're doing in high school. There was some. Did you do something in high school?
Actually,
that set you on the path?
I did. I came from a huge Italian family. I was always organizing the wedding showers or the holiday parties or
you had
my
the gene.
Grandfather's. Absolutely. But an event at our cottage growing up, if 100 people came out on a Sunday, it wasn't a big deal for my dad.
So it really
wasn't. He would say, okay, I got the grill, you got this. Listen, there were 6 girls. We had matching muumuus.
Wow.
But I went to school. I have a theatrical degree and a fine arts degree. So I went to school as an actress. And honestly, you can look up Delta Force. You can look up old episodes of Golden Girls and LA Law, and I'm on them all. And with the blessing of that, I know it's hilarious. It's hilarious. You know the episode with Burt Reynolds and all the girls?
Oh, yeah.
I was the lead prostitute. No, I'm not kidding. It's hilarious. I used to see my lines with Jimmy Smits on LA Law. One of my lines was meow. It's hilarious. But I think what that did was all of the training that I received on set design and, theater in itself, because it really is Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. We're doing the opening celebration, not the opening celebration, the first annual celebration at Wallace Annenberg on the 1st, honoring Jenny Mancini, the Mancini Library. And I've scheduled the whole thing as Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And what that did for me also, which is the biggest blessing, which is one of my, if I was going to give anyone a tip, this would be
Okay, we're ready.
This is it.
What is it?
This is the tip. I don't care what you do in life. I don't care if you're a photographer. If you're a business person and you're in front of people, learn how to speak. Go to a Toastmasters. Learn how to speak. I tape my staff. I make them do presentations at our staff meetings. They hate me for it. And I count the ums. I said, I got to tell you, I fell asleep like a half an hour ago. Really? You're going to spend $500,000 of my money? Yes. I don't think so.
The ums really are a problem.
Well, it's the ums, it's hands, it's your body not involved. Yes. I've looked around the room several times because I can see you looking at me, so I'm taking you in. And I don't, it's true.
Well, you're reading the room.
I'm reading the room, but you have to read the room 100%. I don't care what the business is.
Absolutely.
I mean, my client, I'm doing Peg Yorkin's 90th. She's as sweet as can be, but at that point, she can't hear. You have to punch her words. You have to talk to her. Peg, are you hearing me? And we came up with the best and the most, the profanity in this invitation is hilarious because she drops the F-bomb all the time. And no one was willing to really sell it to her. I said, I got this one.
So when you're saying that, you're still selling your content. You're reading their creativity too.
I'm reading,
and you're reading it back.
I'm reading it back to you.
And so that's the skill that you're saying that is hard to sort of find in other people.
You
in many
have
cases.
to find that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I'm looking straight at you. You're talking to me. I'm talking to you. We're responding. We're taking each other in.
The oxytocin exchange is actually happening.
Exactly. So I think that is my biggest tip.
Okay.
Can you speak professionally?
Okay. So then my last question may not be that appropriate then. What advice do you give to the 21-year-old Cheryl?
get experience, find mentors. This is crazy that I'm here tonight with Sharon Sachs. She was one of my mentors.
Really?
This is crazy. I have to tell you. Yes, the last job I did for her was the wedding of Carol Bear Sager. That was the last job. I freelanced before I decided that's it. I'm going to open up my garage, which I did, and start a company. But it'd be really to get as much experience as you can, to learn, to be knowledgeable. If you're going to sell something, it really isn't about organizing a tea party for your great Aunt Zoe.
Right.
It's about knowing all of the florals that are possible, all the furniture, all the looks, all the ideas. Study architecture. Being curious. And do what you love and love what you do.
Absolutely.
I have people in my office, they want nothing to do with design. They want nothing to do with talking to each other. They want to stay behind. My whole graphic department wants to stay behind the scenes. So I cast them. Cast yourself.
Yes.
And you'll find your place. And remember that as soon as you get through that door, there's going to be another door. You get through that door, yet another door. And be willing to go through doors to the day you're done.
Right.
And when are you done?
I consider myself millennial-minded.
Thank you.
And I think that is a great, because I love this generation.
Yeah,
I think this generation is fantastic.
It's great. And it's fun. And the event business is incredible.
It's incredible.
Because the experience that people are looking for now really is life-changing.
Well, we're also in the temporary world of the temporary marketplace and the temporary workplace. And these events become temporary town squares. And the rest of our world is sort of falling apart and not stable.
Right.
These events that we're creating, these temporary structures, become ecosystems.
And everybody is doing that. Look at Westfield. Look at the new building at Century City. When you go in there, they're not programming go shop in their stores.
Right.
What they're programming, and I think some Westfield clients are actually coming tonight, what they're programming is let's give all of our patrons experience.
Right.
They're going to have a great time here. And then guess what happens while they're having a great time? They shop.
Right.
So you're really
there's a great book, which I'm going to tell you about later, called Social Physics, How Ideas Flow by Alex Pentland. It's all about idea flow.
I love that.
And it's all about people who are not necessarily attending. It's the conversations that you're curating and the cues that you're setting up to allow people. The design and everything else is about the cues that you're setting up to allow people to talk to each other in many cases. So
that's a great book. I'm going to read it.
I'm going to tell everybody about it.
Okay, good.
This is great.
Thank you.
I look forward
it's a pleasure
to
to be here.
We're honored.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, David, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that was really a wonderful moment for me. And I really enjoy sharing it with the rest of the world also. So, Beth, what's going on at BizBash?
We are looking forward to our annual Florida event. This is BizBash Live Florida, where we get to meet with you finally. It takes place May 4th at the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center. Just go to bizbash.com/events and you can sign up and hear from us in person.
What's interesting is we have people coming from all over the world to our event in Florida. We thought they would only come to New York, but they're coming from all over, especially since Florida is the capital of South America.
Certainly. And, we do have, for the very first time this year, a special Spanish language workshop. And so we are, trying to cater to that market and offer something for everyone. So please join us May 4th.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Player FM, Google Play, and Pocket Cast. Be sure to leave us a rating and review. It helps others discover the GatherGeeks podcast. We'd also love to hear from you. You can leave feedback on Twitter @GatherGeeks or leave us an email, gathergeeks@bizbash.com. We hope you'll join us again for the next episode of GatherGeeks. Until then, gather on. If you are looking for a state-of-the-art learning management system, take a look at Digitel's newest platform, Opus DX. Opus DX offers the robust platform for event organizers and associations to manage content. To learn more and schedule a demo, email them at contactus@digitelinc.com. That's contact us at digitellinc.com.